Hello lovely learners, and welcome back to the channel. It's RRA here, and I'm so excited you've decided to join me today. Are you ready to take a significant step forward in your English learning journey? I know that many of you are incredibly dedicated, putting in so much effort to improve your grammar and expand your vocabulary, which is absolutely fantastic. But sometimes, even with all that knowledge, real-life conversations can still feel a little tricky, can't they? We're going to dive deep into the kinds of phrases that native speakers use constantly without even thinking about them. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's get started. So let's kick things off by talking about these everyday phrases are so incredibly important. You might be thinking, RRA, I know lots of vocabulary and my grammar is pretty good. Isn't that enough? And while those are crucial foundations, absolutely, everyday phrases are like the secret ingredient that brings the whole recipe together. They are the connectors, the softeners, the little expressions that make your English sound less like a textbook and more like a real flowing conversation. Without them, even grammatically perfect English can sometimes sound a bit stiff or overly formal in casual settings. Think about your own native language for a moment. I'm sure it's filled with little idioms, colloquialisms, and common expressions that you use without a second thought. These phrases probably don't translate literally word for word into English, do they? And it's exactly the same the other way around. Native English speakers are constantly using these set phrases, and understanding them is key, not just to comprehension, but to truly grasping the speaker's intent, their emotion, and the underlying cultural context. They add layers of meaning that individual words alone often can't convey. Mastering these phrases significantly boosts your fluency. When you have these chunks of language ready to go, you don't have to spend as much mental energy constructing sentences from scratch every single time. Instead, you can pull out a perfectly appropriate phrase, just like a native speaker would. This frees up your brain to focus on what you want to say, rather than struggling with to say it. It makes your speech smoother, faster, and much more natural sounding, which in turn boosts your confidence. And isn't that what we're all aiming for? I remember when I was first learning a second language, I focused so much on individual words. I could read articles, I could understand the news, but when I tried to have a casual chat, I felt like I was hitting a wall. People were using all these little expressions I'd never seen in my textbooks. It was like there was a whole other language happening just beneath the surface. It wasn't until I started paying attention to these everyday phrases, these conversational shortcuts, that things really started to click for me. Suddenly, conversations felt less like a test and more like a genuine exchange. These phrases are also crucial for building rapport and connection. When you use an everyday phrase correctly, it signals to the other person that you understand the nuances of the language, that you're comfortable, and that you're making an effort to speak in a way that's familiar to them. All right, now that we understand everyday phrases are so crucial, let's dive into the fun part, learning some of the most common and useful ones. I've curated a list for you, and we'll break them down by their purpose or the context in which you might use them. Let's start with greetings and small talk. These are the phrases you'll use all the time, every day. Beyond a simple hello, you might hear or want to use, how's it going? This is a very common, informal way to ask, how are you? A typical response could be, good, you, or not bad, how about yourself? Long time no see. You use this when you meet someone you haven't seen for a while. Next up, let's look at phrases for expressing opinions or agreement, disagreement. If you ask me, this is a way to introduce your opinion, perhaps when it hasn't been directly solicited. Now let's consider phrases for asking for clarification or help. It's perfectly normal to not understand something, and these phrases will help you navigate those moments politely. Moving on to phrases for making suggestions or invitations. How about, or what about? We've now got a good collection of everyday phrases in our toolkit, which is fantastic. But knowing the words is only part of the puzzle. The real magic, the thing that will make you sound truly natural and help you understand native speakers on a deeper level, lies in mastering nuance, context, and tone. The same phrase can have wildly different implications depending on you say it and you say it. This is where English really comes alive. Let's take a seemingly simple phrase like, oh really? If I say it with a rising intonation, oh really, it can express genuine surprise or interest. Imagine someone tells you, I just won a trip to Hawaii. Your response, oh really, that's amazing. shows you're engaged and happy for them. But what if I say it with a flat, slightly falling intonation, maybe even a bit drawn out? Oh, risoli. This can convey skepticism, disbelief, or even sarcasm. He said he finished the entire project in one night. Oh, early. See the difference? The words are identical, but the meaning is poles apart. Context is equally powerful. The phrase, no way, can express delighted surprise. You got the promotion? No way! Congratulations. Here it's a positive exclamation. However, it can also mean I absolutely refuse, or that's impossible. For example, if someone asks you to do something unreasonable, can you work all weekend for no extra pay? You might think, or say depending on your boldness, no way. The situation surrounding the phrase dictates its interpretation. Pronunciation and intonation are your secret weapons here. Think about the phrase, I'm fine. If said with a bright upward inflection, I'm fine, it genuinely means you're okay, perhaps even good. But if said with a flat tone or a slight sigh, I'm fine, it can often mean the opposite, that you're fine, but that you don't want to talk about it. This is a classic example where listeners, especially native speakers, pay more attention to the tone than the words themselves. Learning to read and use these tonal cues is vital. Let's consider another example. Excuse me. If you bump into someone accidentally, a quick, apologetic excuse me with a slightly higher pitch shows politeness. But if someone is blocking your way and you need to get past, a more assertive, slightly lower pitched excuse me can be used to get their attention. And if someone says something offensive, a sharp, indignant excuse me conveys outrage. Now that we've explored why everyday phrases are essential, learned a bunch of useful ones, and delved into the importance of nuance and context, it's time for the most crucial part, putting it all together and practicing. Knowledge is wonderful, but it's through application and consistent practice that you'll truly build confidence and fluency. So in this chapter, we're going to look at some practical exercises and strategies to help you integrate these phrases into your daily English. First off, let's talk about active recall. Instead of just passively reviewing a list of phrases, try to actively retrieve them from your memory in different situations. One great way to do this is with flashcards, but with a twist. On one side, write a situation or a feeling. For example, you meet an old friend unexpectedly, or you strongly agree with someone. On the other side, write down a few everyday phrases that would be appropriate for that situation. For example, long time no see, how have you been? Or I couldn't agree more, you've hit the nail on the head. Another excellent exercise is to create mini dialogues. Take 2 or 3 phrases you want to practice and try to build a short conversation around them. For example, if you're practicing how's it going, fair enough, and catch you later, your dialogue might look something like this. Hey, how's it going? But not bad, just a bit busy with work. You, same here, was hoping to grab lunch, but sounds like you're swamped. But yeah, unfortunately, maybe another time. Fair enough, catch you later. But you too, writing these out and then saying them aloud helps solidify the phrases in a conversational context. Role-playing is also incredibly effective, especially if you have a study buddy or a language exchange partner. You can set up different scenarios, ordering food in a restaurant, asking for directions, making small talk at a party, discussing a movie you just watched. Before you start, decide which everyday phrases you both want to try and incorporate. This makes the practice targeted and gives you a chance to use the phrases in a more spontaneous way, which is closer to real-life conversation. Don't underestimate the power of talking to yourself. I know it might sound a bit strange, but narrating your day or having imaginary conversations in English can be a fantastic low-pressure way to practice. As you're making breakfast, you could think, okay, what's next? I need to toast the bread, coffee's ready. You're using phrases in context, even if it's just with yourself. This internal monologue helps to make the phrases feel more natural and automatic. And there we have it. We've covered so much today, from understanding the vital role of everyday phrases to learning a whole new set for your toolkit, exploring the subtleties of nuance and context, and finally discussing practical ways to get practicing. My hope is that you're feeling much more equipped and excited to tackle real-world English conversations. Remember, these phrases are your keys to unlocking smoother, more natural, and more confident communication. They help you connect with people on a more authentic level. The most important thing to remember is that learning these phrases is an ongoing journey, not a one-time task. Consistent exposure and, crucially, consistent are what will make the difference. Don't just learn them, live them. Try to incorporate 1 or 2 new phrases into your English each week. Listen out for them, say them aloud, and don't be afraid to experiment. You have the ability to master this. Every small step you take, every new phrase you learn and use brings you closer to your fluency goals.